Hello and welcome to the Candid Cashflow podcast, episode 60. I'm your host, Ava Fales. Alright, let's get started. So, right off the bat, if you're in a hurry, you can grab the show notes for this episode in PDF format by visiting candidcashflow.com/episode 60. Please consider subscribing in your favorite listening app by visiting candidcashflow.com/subscribe. And also, real quick, if you'd like to get my daily emails, I'd love to have you on my list. You can get on there. You can see what other people are saying, first of all. And if you think it's right for you, then you can subscribe by visiting candidcashflow.com/email. So this week's episode is all about generating content ideas. This can be kind of difficult in the sea of humanity that's out there on the internet. It's really hard to know what type of topics you should cover to stand out from the crowd and how much content and everything like that. And I think that content is really a numbers game, and it's going to come down to how much content you create in how many places. So having the most content possible, the most links to your content, etc., I think that's the win space for winning with content. So kind of my goal is to create as much content as I possibly can and then syndicate that content across the web so that audiences on different platforms can partake of that content. So that takes a lot of content ideas. You can't just, have 5 content ideas and put them in 1,000 places and call it done. So in my experience, you want to be consistent, which, I've discussed at length both in my emails and on the Candid Cashflow podcast. You want to be consistent with the amount of content that you're creating, and it takes a lot. So, the Candid Cashflow podcast is just one thing that I create, and I try to maximize that to the full extent that I can. So I'm just going to go over some of the ways that I generate content ideas and kind of go over what's working for me right now and what's working better. So, first and foremost, let's just get this out of the way. Read a lot. And everybody says that. Everybody says if you're creating content, then you need to read a lot of content. If you're writing books, you need to read a lot of books, right? So, if you're not much of a reader, this can be tough. But here's what you want to do. You want to consume content where you're going to be creating it. So if you make podcasts, listen to podcasts. If you make videos, watch some YouTube. If you're a writer, read blogs, read books. So consume a lot of the same type of content that you create. At the same time, you can be conducting research on the platform. For example, I'm looking to get into medium.com and begin publishing content on a regular basis on that platform. So in order to kind of be ahead of the game so that I can succeed there, hopefully faster than, that I did the last time that I tried it, because I tried Medium a couple years ago and it didn't really go very well. So what I can do is I can spend a lot of time reading there and at the same time conduct that field research that I need to know so I can see what's working for other people, what they're doing, and kind of not copy them, but emulate those same strategies that they use. So your consumption of content can have that twofold purpose, whether it's reading or, watching a video, listen to a podcast. So now that whole read a lot thing is out of the way, we can get down to the nitty gritty. So I always advise that people start with what they know, because that's the easiest place to start. If you're starting with what you already know, it's going to be easy to create content about that subject. And it's going to be, you know so much about it, it's going to be easy for you to break it down. And while you're starting with what you know, I also suggest that you stick to the things that you're actually interested in. You know, you might know how to weave baskets underwater, but do you really want to be married to that topic for a long period of time? Do you want to be updating your content about that for years? You know, I always advise sticking to your passions and interests. You know, there are people out there that will advise you against that. Say, you know, don't do that just because it's something that you love. If you do it for a job, you'll get to where you hate it. Things like that. Insist that you choose topics instead that are trending, or topics that are already proven in the marketplace to make money. But I believe that passion has a positive impact on your business. So when you're authentic, it will come across more genuine to your audience, and your readers and customers will pick up on that. Whereas if it's not there, they'll also pick up on that. So now that you're focused in an area that you know a lot about, and it's something that you love, where, you know, you're good with spending a lot of time in that space, niche down. And what I mean by that is start with a broad topic and then break it down. For example, let's say your main passion and or interest is art. You might diversify by creating content about like painting, drawing, sculpting. Then you can niche it down even further than that. So like you could take painting and drill it down to like watercolor, acrylic, and oil. For drawing, graphite, pen, and ink, and so on. So some niches and even sub-niches run really deep. Once you have all the topics covered in your niche, or you've started kind of running out of ideas, you can diversify even further by doing like product reviews. Not to mention, you can use that as a monetization method. So I just want to insert a pro tip right here about kit.co, which is a website where you can go and set up an account and you can share the different kits that you use for different things. So for example, if I made a kit.co for my podcast, which I'm totally going to do, I just haven't yet. It's on my extensive to-do list. So I have my account for my podcast, then I can go there and insert Amazon affiliate links for my microphone, my computer even, my speakers, anything that I use for my podcast. And then let's say if you have like a video kit or whatever that you use to shoot your YouTube videos, you could then, create several. You don't have to just have one. And then what kit.co does is it gives you a link that you can then share on social media, on your websites, in your YouTube video descriptions, in your podcast descriptions, just that link where people can click through and see what kind of equipment you're using. And if they click through and purchase through one of your affiliate links, then you make a commission. So it's a way to kind of monetize and share the things that you're using. So whatever niche you choose should provide you with tons of content. When you're out of ideas, revert back to reading. If you think there's nothing new under the sun, use the Google search tools to find out the latest in your niche. And you just do that by going to google.com, and in the search, when you type in a search, just type in your keyword, whatever it is. So your niche, so podcasting, I'll just use podcasting as an example. So type podcasting in the search box, hit enter, and when the search results pop up, you'll see under that some buttons, and one of them will say tools. If you click that, then you can select a time frame for all the latest articles and websites on that topic. And it goes from like last 24 hours all the way up to like last year. You can always use those search tools to get that latest information. So once you've exhausted reading and you've exhausted what you know, it's time to brainstorm. And this used to be my main source for content ideas. I would sit down, every few months or so and just have a brainstorming session. I'd grab my notebook and a pen or open Notepad or Google Docs or Word, whatever works for you, whatever you use to record words, and make a list of ideas for content. If you're having a day where you're feeling creative, that's a great time to sit down and make a list. Some ideas are going to spawn new ideas. This works the same with my daily emails. Emails beget emails. You'll also get new ideas when you're creating the content itself. It will also spawn ideas during that creation process. Keep a place handy to jot down any stray ideas, so over time you keep accruing that list, because there's going to be times when you don't have a clue what kind of content you're going to create, like what you're going to say, what you're going to write, whatever kind of content you create, you're going to have writer's block and, whatever. So keep that place where you can always revert back to that list and pull an idea from it. And what I do is when I create something on the list, I just check it off. I simply check it off and call that done. And if I have new information on that topic, then I go back in and upgrade that content. I've lost countless ideas by not keeping that place to write them down or being somewhere where I have access to it. So I have Notepad apps on my phone and everything anymore, just to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. The next strategy for generating content ideas, and my current favorite, is to write every day. If you listen to episode 57, then you heard me detail the benefits I've experienced from emailing my list every day. This week I reviewed the topics I could pull from the last 30 days of emails. I actually did a 30-day challenge with my list, and I've ended up with 22 topics from the last 30 days for content, or 22 ideas. And so if I took the last 90 days of writing every day to my email list, then I'd have, a quarter's worth of topic ideas that I can then turn into articles, which is perfect for what I want to do with Medium.com. This has single-handedly been the biggest idea generator for me so far, is writing every day. Next strategy, connect with your audience. However it is that you connect with them, whether it's, using your email list, using Facebook groups, connect with people that are interested in your niche, and then those that aren't even in your audience, try going to Reddit and finding a subreddit that fits with your niche. Connect with people there outside of your audience. Or Quora is a great place to connect with people that aren't even in your audience. And you'll never run out of ideas on those two platforms where people are constantly discussing pretty much everything under the sun. So that's pretty much all the tactics that I use these days for coming up with content ideas. If you want to expand on all this, you should check out the article that I put out on repurposing content. It was actually an update from where I'm moving everything over to candidcashflow.com from my heyoava.com site. I pulled that, and I actually ended up adding, I think, 4 more ways to the article itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a PDF of that article. It has currently 25 ways on it. I'll make a PDF, and I'll include that link to that PDF in the show notes for this episode. Those will be available at candidcashflow.com, episode 60. And that's something that I'll be keeping updated, which brings me to the end of episode 60 of the Candid Cashflow podcast. I want to invite you to subscribe to my email list, because by doing so, you gain access to my folder of useful PDFs. And that's where you'll be able to access that PDF for the 25 ways for repurposing your content. Among other things that I've created, if you listen to my back episodes, anything that I created for this show as a bonus, and I am the bonus queen, you will find in that folder of useful PDFs. So I hope you'll sign up for my email list, receive my emails. I look forward to connecting with you. If you like what you heard today, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the show. Let me just back up the email list. You can find out what everybody's saying about that and subscribe yourself at candycashflow.com/email. And I'd love for you to subscribe to the Candid Cashflow podcast. If you like what you heard, you can do so in your favorite listening app at candidcashflow.com/subscribe. Support us with a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be awesome. I would so appreciate it. And that's really going to do it for this episode. Remember, I release a new episode each Wednesday. Until next time, turning your passion into cash flow.